Okay, so we've got to talk about this. It's a pretty wild announcement coming from, well, one of the most powerful financial figures on the planet. And believe me, this is way more than just another news headline. It's like a tremor right at the core of our economic system. So let's get into it. We're going to break down exactly what's going on, why it's happening, and, what this could mean for all of us. So right out of the gate, we get this bombshell. The chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, he comes out in a public video and says the Fed is under a criminal investigation. Yeah, you heard that right, a criminal investigation. He himself calls it unprecedented, and honestly, that might be an understatement. I mean, think about it. A sitting Fed chair facing a potential indictment, that just doesn't happen. It's the kind of thing that sends real shockwaves through the entire financial world. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what in the world could the Federal Reserve be investigated for criminally? Is it about interest rates? Inflation? Nope. The official reason is, get this, a construction project. Seriously. The whole thing apparently revolves around testimony that Chair Powell gave to the Senate Banking Committee about, of all things, renovating some historic Fed buildings.
All right, let's connect the dots here. So back in June, Powell is up before the Senate testifying about this big multi-year plan to renovate some of the Fed's old buildings. Fast forward to now, and suddenly that exact testimony is the reason for these grand jury subpoenas. The official story is, hey, this is just routine congressional oversight, making sure everyone's accountable. But, and this is a big but, there might be a whole other story playing out behind the scenes.
So, Powell starts his statement by saying all the right things, He talks about his respect for the rule of law, saying no one is above the law. It's exactly what you'd expect him to say. But then, bam, he completely changes direction. He basically suggests that this whole investigation, the one that's supposedly about renovating buildings, yeah, that's not what this is really about at all. And this is the moment the whole thing just explodes. 3 little words. Those are pretexts. I mean, wow. With that one phrase, Powell is flat out saying that the entire official reason for this, the testimony, the buildings, all of it is a complete sham. He's saying it's a cover story, a fake reason to come after him. He's basically calling it a political hit job, loud and clear. So this really breaks it down for us, right? You've got these 2 totally different stories. On the one hand, the government is saying this is about his testimony on building renovations. It's just oversight. But on the other hand, you have Powell's explosive claim. No, this is about you trying to pressure me on interest rates. He's arguing that this threat of a criminal indictment is payback or maybe a warning because the Fed is making its decisions based on the economy and not on what might be politically popular. And this whole fight, the entire thing, really boils down to one super important idea: the independence of the Federal Reserve. Now, this isn't just some vague concept. It's a cornerstone of our economic system. You can think of it like a firewall. It's built to keep short-term politics from messing with long-term economic decisions. The whole point is to protect our economy from getting yanked around for political gain. So why is this independence such a big deal? Well, because it's what lets the Fed actually do its job. See, their legal mandate, the reason they exist, is to keep prices stable and employment high. And sometimes, to do that, they have to make tough calls, decisions that might not be popular in the short term. The idea is that they can only make the right call for the economy if they don't have to worry about who's going to win the next election or if they're going to get threatened. And to prove he's serious about this, that he's not just playing politics himself, Powell points to his own resume. He's served at the Fed under 4 different presidents. And he makes it a point to say, hey, these were from both parties, Republicans and Democrats. He's basically saying, look, I've done this job impartially for years, without fear or favor, and I'm not about to change now.
So how does he wrap this all up? Does he back down? Not a chance. Faced with all this pressure, Chair Powell's final message is one of pure defiance. He doesn't offer a compromise. Instead, he says that sometimes public service means you have to stand firm when you're being threatened. And he promises, straight up, that he's going to keep doing the job the Senate confirmed him for no matter what.
And that's where we are now, at this huge crossroads. This has stopped being about Jerome Powell or a renovation project. This is a head-on collision over a fundamental principle of our entire economy. How this plays out, this unprecedented fight, could literally change the rules for how political power and the Federal Reserve interact for decades. It really leaves us with that classic, massive question. What happens when an unstoppable force slams into an immovable object?